games back at you, doing some hobbying, chatting about whatever, going to annoy my brother. He might be asleep. I'm going to wake him up. Be like, wake up, punk. Wake up, fool. That's funny. Tell you what, Twitter is getting nuts with everything. That place is like the freaking Roman Coliseum. It always takes a long time for anybody to show up. The algorithm. The algorithm. Right? Isn't that what it is? They say the algorithm. Now I made a serpent man with this cool badass skull staff. Look at that guy. Definitely a wizard of some sort. Yeah, or a necromancer. That would be cool, wouldn't it? Scorpion Man, necromancer. Okay, I got my werewolves I need to deal with. I got my satyrs, or men of Lane. I need to deal with these guys eventually. Let's try to organize this stuff. I might have to... Mike, how you doing, Mike? Good to see you, bro. Okay, I've just put another copy of Hannibal Barca on a base. So I'll have to find him a nice big round Hoplon shield. Luckily, I know I've got like tons of them laying about. My Scorpion Men. I need to put weapons in those Scorpion Men, don't I? They're sitting there with no weapons. But I've got this guy here, and I cut his hand off, and I'm really thinking, he's like a Viking dude. I put a post in. I know you can barely see that post, right? So my question has been, do I find a hand with a weapon and give it to him? Or do I just take like a hand axe and drill the haft out and stick it on so it looks like his hand's gone and he's just got a hand axe attached to the stump? I think that would be kind of cool, not like a figure I could use all the time because, how many guys are running around the world like that? Well, maybe a few, but still, I think it would just be a really cool kind of thing to do. So I've been kind of digging around, looking at my different hand axes that I have, trying to figure out what would be the best, coolest looking hand axe for him. And that's kind of what I was doing just now, is just kind of, going through my sprues. I really desperately need to put these freaking flagellants together. I don't know how many of these I've bought, but every time I turn around, I'm running into sprues of these guys. And I need to do something with them for sure. The good news is they mix and match with pretty much a lot of other stuff. Okay, hold on. I see. It didn't pop up on the screen, but I got you. Good morning. Oh, your mic's off.
Yeah, I'm not at home right now, so
Where you
I
at?
joined you. Huh?
Where
I'm
you
out
at, fool?
shopping.
Oh, out shopping?
Yeah.
Well, then, Dan.
But I didn't want to leave you hanging.
Well, I mean, I appreciate it. So, yeah, I need a nice. That's what I'm thinking, Mike. That is exactly where my mind went with that, Because he looks like a berserker type. He's wearing all furs. He's got like the horned helmet and big red beard and everything. So I'm 100% thinking this dude right here needs. Plus, I was thinking like, Tyr, the Norse god Tyr, had his right hand bit off. So I'm just looking for a decent axe that I think would fit him. And it's not going to be on that sprue. You know, caught it. Did you see that? That was skillful. More of these freaking. I'm telling you, I need to just put those guys on bases and do something with them already. Okay, I got a spear. I've got the sword. I got a bow. I got a two-handed axe on this one. That wouldn't work. I need a one-handed axe because he's one-handed. Oh man. So yeah, Snake Man worked it out pretty well. I found out something the other day. If I shave the bottom of the plastic torsos just so they fit perfectly, and I don't even have to use any green stuff or anything. It just they fit perfect. So okay, so this is all swords and weird stabs. So that Russian post funk I sent to you, you like it? Hunger? Well,
Yeah, it was awesome, dude.
yeah. What do you think about the big guy on the keyboards in the white Hawaiian shirt?
Yeah.
He's just sitting there. Yeah. Heavy sky above my. Okay, so one thing I can do.
I'll be home in about a hour. If you're still on, I'll hop on with you, brother.
You do that, bro.
All right, love you.
Love you too, homie. I mean, to quote Finn the human, homies help homies, always. That cartoon might have got stupid towards the end. Some people say whatever they want to say about it. I'm like, whatever, either way, but I will tell you this. There was some pretty good messages in that cartoon. And that was one of them. The homies help homies, always. That is a good message. And the other message is that what's her name is a damn tyrant, worse than Stalin, and she is definitely not a good guy. And if you're wondering who I'm talking about, I am talking about Princess Bubblegum. Princess Bubblegum is a horrible creature. She created the Candy Kingdom, and then she just sits and stares at them all day through hidden surveillance. And this could work. This could definitely work. Yeah, she is the worst. Also, whenever, you know, like poor Finn had so many fills for her, she knew what she was doing. You know what I'm saying? She was leading him on, and she knew she was. So yeah, PB can go to hell. So anyway, so that's my rant about that. Yes, PB can go straight to hell. I like this axe. Let's see how it would look though. If I put it on him. I don't know. I think that'd look pretty good. Let's set it aside though, just in case. I've got a bunch of barbarians I can look at, see if they got any axes on their spruce. Darn it, my Druzina keep falling. Sun is. All right, the sun is gone. Uh-oh. An elder thing. You don't want to see an elder thing. Yeah, she knew what she was doing with him, and then sending him out on all those missions. Like eventually, she even had to admit it. You know what I mean? She friend zoned freaking Finn hard, and then ends up dating Marceline. It was like, get the F out of here, you know? Now, one of the best episodes is the one where you kind of get some of the backstory between Princess Bubblegum and Simon Petrovich, the Frost King. And you find out that they've known each other for 900 years, and but he doesn't remember because the Ice Crown turned him into the Frost King. So he doesn't remember the fact that he basically sacrificed everything to save Marceline, not PB, Marceline, when she was, pretty much a baby. But unfortunately, he does not remember anything. However, he cannot stop hunting her down and wanting to be around her. That was a sad episode. They sang a song, but it was the lyrics of the song were all letters that Simon had written when he was still Simon. And is about how he was worried about what was going to happen to her after he forgot who he was because he knew he was going to. And so, yeah, it was really sad, just a sad thing that happened there. There were some funny ones too, like when they found the translator and they put it on Lady Rainicorn and it translated Korean to English, but she sounded like an old man. Yeah, that was a good one too. See, I used to watch that show with my daughter all the time when she was very, very young. And I still remember it, a lot of it. My old Pomeranian, that I'd always sing the theme song from Adventure Time to him when it was time to go for a walk. Come on, grab your friends. Go with family. The fun will never end. It's adventure. Yeah. elderly gentleman, but still. My Mishka there. Boy, got us a boulevard or something like that. It's pretty dead on. So anyway, I have, and I know this wasn't necessarily on the list of things I needed to do, but I decided to do it anyway. I am gluing horse bodies together because I have a whole box of um, Barons War knights that the box got jacked up. And I'm thinking I need to go ahead and put these, there's only 12 of them. I need to get them put together and maybe put them up there on that shelf somewhere. There's room. And, you know, and then I've got some Byzantine auxiliarymen sitting here, javelin throwers mostly. And then I've got my werewolves, my satyrs, my serpent men. I just cut a body off of this serpent man tell section. So, Stephen Kennedy, how you doing, bro? So I'll be, building him up. Yeah, I had like 10 of those bones serpent men just laying around on the desk. So getting them handled is going to be it's going to clear stuff up pretty good. And they'll just go in the box where the serpent men go. Um, I did go to WizKids today and order 3 saber-tooth tigers. Yeah, that is of all of the things that Cold Iron has done, I think that's one of my favorites. Definitely my wife's favorite too. Just me resting back on him. But he's not a timber wolf. If you look really close, he's a gigantic Pomeranian. Or Cold Iron said a dire Pomeranian. And all of the things that Cold Iron has done for me, he sent me a message explaining that they all tell a story. So they're just like, it's me, but at different parts along a story and not necessarily in chronological. So the one where you see my character walk, well, it's me walking through the snow and you can see the Pomeranian's face kind of poking out here. That apparently would be an older one when I found the puppy. And then you see as he's growing and we're doing things until finally he's as big as a freaking black bear. Yeah, in his mind, he's a timber wolf. There's that one picture of him just ripping the shit out of a bunch of killer frogs, just going nuts. So, yeah, in his mind, he's definitely something. But yeah, apparently, early on in my adventuring days, I found a dire Pomeranian. And we've been hanging out ever since. And I'm like, well, that's cool. I mean, that's a cool story, because for Cold Iron, I think it's important that he's telling a story. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm about to get pulled in too, ain't I? There's another one that's after that, and it just shows me and the dog sitting next to a campfire eating a fish, and it's like some kind of big pike. How you doing, Big James? How's life, man? I hope you're doing really good. So so see, I didn't know that. I thought they were all kind of like just standalone pictures, and then Code Iron explained to me that no, that they're all part of a storyline. So, mainly because I was saying maybe my dog is magical and that's why it changes size a lot. And he's like, no, it's just different times during your journey. And I'm like, oh, so when it's small, it's a pup. And then when it's big, that's when he's grown. And the whole time it's just always me there with him, you know, getting into trouble, doing stuff. So I mean, it's really nice of him to do that for me. George has done some amazing stuff for me too. But I think George has been doing stuff for like Shadow and some other guys too. He's been a lot busier with it, I think. But then Cold Iron does stuff for like Holy Diver and other people like that. So, I mean, you know, but the one where I'm kind of leaned back on the bear sleeping, well, bear's his name. I'm really seriously thinking about putting that on a shirt. Just me kicked back on the mountaintop with Saturn in the background, having having a little bit of a rest. That I would happily wear pretty much anywhere. You know, I'd be good with that. So yeah, it's funny. I was in Kentucky and we went out, and I was wearing my Varangian shirt, and I got a few looks, because I come walking in, and it's just a black shirt, and it's got like the Holy Roman Empire, double eagle, and it's got like the or not Celtic, the Slavic sun wheel, and it says Varangian across the top. And I'm pretty sure those people in that diner in Tennessee had no idea what the hell that even was. They were looking like. But then this one old dude, he was standing there, and he struck up a conversation, because anytime you're in Tennessee or Kentucky, like in a diner, expect someone to strike up a conversation. It's going to happen. And he was packing too. Like he's like, hey, how you doing, young man? This guy is like 70, had some kind of semi-auto on his hip. I'm like, I'm doing pretty good, living the dream. How are you? He's like, doing pretty good. And I was like, yeah, we just drove down here from Kentucky real quick to drop my brother off. He's like, oh, you're up in Kentucky? I was like, and I told him, no, I live in Florida right now, but I'm originally from Kentucky. I'm up here visiting family. And he's like, actually interested in what I was saying. You know what I mean? The guy was actually interested. He was like, oh, wow. He's like, cool, man. And of course, really proud of their little town. He's like, how you like it here so far? I was like, this is a nice little town. So that's one of the other reasons I always love going up there. It's like, and that's not to say people in Florida aren't nice, because let me tell you, there are some really nice people here. And they'll chat with you and hang out and whatever, right? But I don't know. I just feel different about it up there. Up there, it just feels, it hits a little different. I think it's because of, when I'm up there by day 2, my accent comes back, and it's like, yeah, here we are, right? But so yeah, I got a couple of saber tooths coming, and like I said, the wife bought me the Snake Man. I'm pretty sure she also bought me the Cultist box number 3, because there's 3 boxes of Cultist. Can you believe that? For Frostgrave, and the Savages from Ghost Archipelago, which you can build wearing either the wooden, fetish masks or not. And yeah, those guys I think are yeah, you miss parts of the South, brother. Because let me tell you, Birmingham, Alabama, full of assholes. I hate to say it, but I've been there a couple of times, and those guys, I don't know what their problem is. It doesn't matter if they're white guys or black guys. None of that shit matters. They're all assholes, every one of them. They just got something wrong with them. I don't know what it is. You're doing your thing, and they're just dicks. And it's only Birmingham, because if you go anywhere else in Alabama, everyone's cool as shit. You know what I mean? So I think it's just a city thing, You go into the city, people are dicks. And I think that's true of most cities, excluding Orlando. But Orlando's such a tourist place. It's like most of the people you meet here, they're being paid to be nice to you. So, but yeah, it's just like, I have never enjoyed Birmingham, but I've been to other places in Alabama and Mississippi and thought it was great. So I'm just going to blame that particular area. I am thinking this is going to be the thing I picked for my barbarian, even though it's really weird. But I want it to be really weird. That is the thing. So I'm going to have to clip that off and then drill her out. So I'm going to take this. I hear you should. No, you don't. So you guys can see that, right? I'm going to cut just the blade off. And that's what I'm going to mount on that Berserker. So I need to find where the haft of it is. It's right here. Sun is gone. I got that Nazaris song stuck in my head. That really old Soviet post-punk song where the keyboardist is like a big dude wearing funky glasses and wearing like a white Hawaiian shirt. Lead singer's just a skinny little guy, But yeah, it's 100% stuck in my head. So I'm just sitting here listening to dun 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 dun, dun dun dun. Heavy skies are over me. Are all I see. Dun, 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 dun. Never heard that song. Uh, like it's 80s post punk Soviet Union in Russian, but you can find it in English, a translation. And it's kind of like it's post punk, so it's kind of like Joy Division and stuff like that, except Russian. Because apparently in the 80s, the Russians, the Soviets at least, were really jamming out with their versions of goth and post punk. So like there's another band out there called Molchat or Molchat Duma, and their whole everything they do is like doomer goth music. And it's in Russian, but you can find, where they have the English subtitles, which just allows you to see how exactly dark and depressing the songs are. Because, yeah, their songs are super dark and depressing. Well, I mean, the fact that it's Russian is a very specific genre, but when I got a little bit older, because when I was younger, I was all about Zeppelin, the typical Southern guy, bluegrass music and Led Zeppelin, basically, right? Hank Williams Jr. But then when I got older, especially when I went to the Army, I got introduced to like the Velvet Underground, Echo and the Bunnymen, Joy Division and all that. So basically, I got introduced to post punk, and I loved it. It like, and to this day, I still, like I was listening to The Forest the other day by The Cure. It just something about it caught me, and then I've always listened to Russian folk music like Otavio and Lube, um, stuff like that. And you know, one day I was listening to Russian folk music, and I had the thing on, just keep going, right? And it went to Blood Type by Kino, and I was like, damn, that's a good song, right? I mean, I had to look it up, and then that broadened my mind to like there's so much like Russian, and I mean during the USSR, even post punk goth kind of music like that. And a lot of it is really good, and I'm not just saying that because of any sort of biases. I mean, you know a lot of it is just really good stuff. Not saying all of it is, but a lot of it is. And so sometimes if you're ever on YouTube, you'll see these like playlists, and it's like Russian doomer music. And that's kind of what they're talking about. That's like like people in America will put together these playlists, and it'll be like Russian doomer music, and it'll be like all of those old bands from like the 80s. A lot of their songs are typical gothy songs. They're singing about lost love, or they're singing about having to go to war and how they really don't want to, but they got to. uh, stuff like that. That's kind of Kino sung a lot of songs that were they were about war, but they were like sad. They were really sad and like gothy. And he put out a lot of songs during the uh, Soviet war in Afghanistan. So there's a lot of that. Where he's talking about, and then there's a couple other guys that do songs about being in Chechnya, and so I gave him a really weird looking bladed weapon on his right arm. Why? Because, like I've been saying multiple times to you, bros, uh, I've started really leaning into the weird when it comes to Hyperborean figures. Like, I don't want them to look like something you would find on Earth. I want them to look like something you would find on an alien world orbiting Saturn. So that's kind of a very specific thing. And again, that's why I've, picked up a lot of the new monsters I've picked up and dug some out. I was in the garage the other day cleaning up. I found a bunch of Gorillons, and then I found this bastard here. This is a fiendish Gorillon. Look at that guy. That's a pre-painted miniature. So, hey, Saxius, how you doing, bro? So, no, maybe I could go on. I could probably go on eBay and find some of these. Let me see. It's not a rare or anything, so probably be kind of cheap. Probably get these for $3 a piece or so. Sax. Hold on a second. The sun is. I'll put the link in if you want to join so that you don't have to try to find it. Yep. This weekend's going to be a thing. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law are going to be visiting, and they're already talking smack about games we play. Mostly, they seen the end state of the game. Me and my wife played Agricola, and oh man, I got spanked so hard in that game. It was just like, well, okay. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Oh, living the dream. Staying busy.
That's the best way to be.
Yeah. So, what's new, man? What's been going on with your games and stuff?
Yeah. So, game-wise, my Rogue Trader.
Yeah.
The guy who played the Rogue Trader. I knew last month that he was going to be out for 2 weeks because he was going to be doing some things. But then he missed 2 games in a row, and he had stopped responding to me since the start of the month. So by the time we came to the 3rd session without him showing up, I kicked him, and we had someone else. We had a discussion as a group, and we found someone else. So someone else within the group is now the Rogue Trader.
Okay.
So that's been all right. The players have found probably the ideal place to go and set up what is probably the most effectively it's a system that's got so much resources that even by imperial standards it will take them like a millennia and 8 centuries to clear it out, and that's assuming that they're being really greedy with how much
Right.
they rip it out. It will still take them a millennia. So it's absolutely filled to the brim with wealth. There's a catch, of course. It's a Necron outpost.
Of course it is.
So the Necrons have set up an outpost to basically siphon out the resources for themselves and send it back to the tomb world for them to use it for repairing for their scarabs and the like.
Right.
The players learned this by actually engaging with the local humans, and they realized, once every 100 years, the Necrons wake up. The players had arrived on like year 89, so they had 11 years to like figure things out. At that point, the rogue trader had like not shown up. The other guy who was in charge needed to be off because he had some family emergency that they had to deal with. So the rest of the group was like, okay, well, we're gonna go and poke it. So they're like, we're gonna gather up some red shirts, some big guns. We're just gonna go down and figure out like how bad it actually is. And it was all right. They killed some scarabs, and then they met one Necron warrior that they fired melter shots at, and they're like, oh, it didn't die on shot one. That's concerning. So they shot it again, and it then went down. And then the reanimation kicked in, and they're like, okay, everyone just get the melter guns and start shooting. So they kept doing that until there was no Necron left. And that was one warrior, where I think they expended like two full canisters of melter charges just to get rid of it. And they're like, yeah, that's one. There's probably more. This is bad.
Yeah, that reincarnation protocol or whatever they call it is
a
bitch.
It is. And it's quite scary because it's like mechanically all they have to do is just pass a toughness roll, and the next turn they come back up. And hit point wise, they're running around with like, I think it's like 14, like in their toughness and their armor is like totaling up to like 14 points of damage that they reduce, unless you've got really good, anything that's got armor penetration. And then they regenerate 5 hit points every turn, just to make them that much more scarier.
Yeah.
So yeah, the players learned that like this was a absolute mistake. Thankfully, they ran out before that Necron warrior could really do anything, because he was knocked out like within one turn. And then when he woke back up, like he was just seeing multiple melter muscles shooting at him. So the Necrons were like, well, we don't understand what happened. We're just going to send out a bunch of scarabs to figure out what's gone on. At that point, the players had gotten off the planet. And the group's gone like, yeah, we're not going to do that again. Instead, we're just going to go back to the Imperial side. We're going to hook up the Inquisition and basically go, hey, do you want to deal with this? So that's the quick summary of what my players has been up to.
I mean, if they get lucky, maybe some Space Marine chapter will be willing to pop in.
Well, so I can share what's happening in the background, because now the players have been in like the fringes for so long. They're going to come back and it's going to be like, right, the sector that I built has been declared like lost.
Uh-oh.
So like the Imperium has to like slowly come in and like take over and do things. The players had a 6-month head start for this, and they spent that like basically the first like real life 3 months, like they barely left the entry point, because they were like poke over there, look over there, like they were really skittish until eventually they went out and they began exploring. A rival rogue trader has arrived with a warrant of trade that's different to theirs. So the players have got their warrant of trade from Robert Gilliman, and the rival rogue trader got his from the God Emperor, because he has a dynasty that goes back to the Great Crusade. So he's a big guy, and he's come in with come in with the mentality of like, we are conquering this place. It is not colonization. It is not bringing people back into the fold. We are here to subjugate. So he's come in with a big entourage, and the players are going to see like how he's been building a war machine with him at the center. But the problem is, like, when you're so high up and you're basically bossing a lot of the locals around, the locals doesn't exactly like it. So there are a number of like smaller factions who have gotten together and basically gone, right, we are going to cock this guy and we're going to outmaneuver him, this rival rogue trader, but we can't replace one despot with another. We need something else that's being put in place. And what they need is for the players to act, to basically provide an olive branch. Because where they have been, that's like a trade federation that they want to be loyal to the Imperium, but they don't want to pay taxes to the local sector governor because the sector governor has been very abusive towards them. So they're like, we're not disloyal. We're just really fucking fed up with being abused.
Right.
So these smaller factions are basically going like, right, if you can get them to do this and we can get this alliance going, we can basically do a whole bunch of things that will mean that the rival rogue trader gets his big victory, but he's reliant on being able to strong arm the local governments into giving him contracts. If they can stop that, he loses all reasons to stay. The rival rogue trader, he's been built to be a very big house, so the players can't fight him economically and they can't fight him militarily. Like he outclasses them in both, but he does not have loyalty. He does not have love. He doesn't have local political savviness that the players have.
So he can be outsmarted and outmaneuvered.
Exactly. So like you can do all these other things like to basically play against like what the other factions, what the other NPCs are gonna say. It's like, if you are every house needs pillars to hold up the roof.
Right.
You can't be the roof and not expect to be without pillars.
Right.
So if we shift them out from him, he's got nothing.
What's up, Saxus? What's up, brother?
Hey, how's it going? You all right, Hongo?
I'm doing good.
That's good to hear. Well, that's that. My Call of Cthulhu group, they managed to. So I had a visitation where a shadowy creature showed up as the players are realizing that like they've been picking up random photographs that one of the NPCs have been taking, and there's been this shadow that's been getting closer and closer and closer. It's now revealed itself to one of the players who managed to keep his cool, and like he didn't go insane. He managed to just about keep himself in control. And then the player said that they would pull out their pistol and shoot, which is great. So the entity disappeared, but I then told the player that he shot at a door. The bullet went through the door, and on the other side was another person who then died. So the players have had to deal with the fact that they, one of them have now committed murder. So they've had to find a way to like blame someone else. They've had to effectively frame someone to then keep the game going. So they've had a good fun like 2 sessions of committing horrific crimes to just keep going.
Like, well. Okay.
Well. If it isn't the consequences of my own actions.
Yes,
Oh, brother.
Delivered.
I downloaded those books, that book you told me to.
Yeah.
I went ahead and got all of those books.
Okay.
Yeah, the Door to Saturn is pretty freaking wild.
So you listen to that?
I'm listening to that.
Yeah, well, let me know after you finish listening to it how you feel about it.
It's so far it's pretty freaking wild.
Well, it touches on some stuff that you've dealt with, like in game. So, because I mean, you've got the cult of Tsagwa and the cult of Yonda, and you know they're in the middle of the war, and of course, what's the name? Ibon, who was the character, right?
Yeah.
Well, the Book of Ibon is a huge like grimoire in Lovecraft. There's even a YouTube channel called the Book of Ibon that just goes into like mythos stuff. So that's the Ibon that wrote the book, you know. And
Is that-
you're talking about a Clark Ashton Smith story, The Door to Saturn, Saxes. It's basically, not even basically, it is specifically about two men who live in Hyperborea. One is a cultist of the Sagwa, the other one is a cultist of Yonda. And at that time, the cult of Yonda was in the position of power.
Yep.
So he's an inquisitor. He's actually trying to run Ibon down and kill him.
Nice.
But then what he didn't know is Ibon had been gifted by his deity a door that literally led to Saturn, which they don't call Saturn. They call it like Shashesh or something like that.
Yeah.
And this crazed inquisitor is crazy enough to jump through the door after him. But none of his followers do. So then now you've got Ibon and the Inquisitor just standing there staring at each other, and they decide, hey, maybe
we can continue to fight each other, or we can work together and maybe live through this.
That's exactly how it works out, because
Nice.
they both have their scimitars, and Ibon's like, we could cut each other's throat or spill each other's entrails, or we could set aside our, problems and try to actually live, right?
Yeah.
And then the rest of the story is just that, them
Nice.
trying to live, and of course, one of the main reasons, I don't know if you've been around for my obsession over blimmies.
No, I can't say I have.
Well, the first tribe they encounter of human-like beings on Saturn are blimmies.
Right.
And blimmies are like these bastards I'm painting up.
Right. Ooh, nice.
So they have no head. Their face is just on their chest, right?
Yeah.
So I thought, you never know. My players may go to Saturn at some point. There are spells, that means to do it. I mean, if a cleric were to really impeach their deity, they could summon a Byaki or even maybe a Night Gaunt that would fly them to Saturn. Now, granted, they would have to take a potion so they didn't die as soon as they got to the outer dark, space. But that is a thing that could happen. Hell, you could, in theory, the players could fly to one of the two moons, and I believe Artemis lives on one of those moons. So that might not be a good thing since she hates smells. And then Apollo lives somewhere too. I think he lives in one of the fragments. But a lot of the Greek got like Ares lives in they call it Underborea. It's like the Underdark except weirder. And Ares has a kingdom down there where he's guarded by like 4 greater demons and shit like that.
Christ.
Yeah. Because it's the Greek Ares, so it's not the honorable god of war Ares. It's the god of bloodshed. And, the guy that in Greek mythology actually used to make his tent out of the skins of people he killed.
Christ.
Yeah, so, and my brother is a Hyperborean, which is basically, I don't know if you've ever read anything with Elric.
I'm racist.
Well, everybody in that world is. So Hyperboreans, like true Hyperborean humans, are 7 to 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
Super pale hair. They have violet or purple eyes. and they live 3+ hundred years old, they tend to consider all other humans to be like subhuman.
Because they are.
Right.
But they cannot reproduce with any other humans, and they're pretty rare. And he worships, as I said, the Sagwa, which is a giant, fat, lazy toad frog looking thing that just sits on a pile of skulls and sleeps all the time.
I can respect that.
Yeah, we were having discussion the other day. Like, I can imagine how most of the people in these different cults of Hyperborea dress, the priests. But it's like, how does a priest of Tasagwa dress?
Any way he wants.
I guess. Well, they're coming out with a new book that may actually go into that. But it's like you literally worship a toad sloth thing.
I just picture like, yeah, like I literally just imagine like the robes that the sparrow would wear from Game of Thrones. There's like just enough clothes to keep you covered and warm, but like you don't care if it's torn, dirty, or anything like that. You just need something to keep yourself comfortable.
I
Like
do
Mr.
know I wear a cloak made out of the scalps of other people.
That is true. He wears a cloak that's made out of human scalps.
I'm not disagreeing that is awesome, but I've got a question. You know, is that the way to be lazy, or is that in honor for the
I took it from a war chief who wore it.
Okay, right. So you didn't go out and scalp all these people and sew them together. That just sounded like a lot of work.
Yeah,
He and the group got into this big thing with this Celtic chief in a town named Harrod.
Yeah.
And he ended up killing the chief. Well, the chief was trying to kill them too. So, you know, because the chief was paranoid as shit, and these adventurers showed up to do an adventure.
Yeah.
But the chief saw them as threats.
Makes sense.
Because you have all these adventurers hanging out. So even after they managed to, you know, fix the curse that had been afflicting this village, you know, and everything like that, the chief in return ambushed them with all of his chosen men.
Yeah.
And it turned into a big brawl right in the middle of the village.
And he failed his saving throw.
And he failed the saving throw and got held right off the bat. Held. It was like, all right, hold person for that guy. And then and the Spartan killed a couple guys with the spear, and it went. I think what happened, did the berserker turn into a bear?
Always.
And just started ripping people apart.
And I just walked up to that leader, and he had a headache when I was done.
Yeah, he just coup de grace him because he's held and couldn't defend himself. So just
nice.
And then they actually put someone else in charge of the village and left. Because in theory, one of them could have been like, this is my village now. You know, who's going to stop me? A bunch of 0-level, you know, Celtic peasants.
Like I'd want to roll a village of subhumans.
Well, that was your excuse. But there's a Celt in the group. He could have been like, I'm the king now. But he didn't. He said, yeah, screw this. Let's get out of here. So they picked the innkeeper to be the new lord of the village.
That's funny.
Well, the innkeeper was the only one that had been kind of nice to him when they showed up. Because he's an innkeeper. So
yeah, I like that. Like, it's like he does sound like one of the more, like, from, I don't know what the other options were, but like the guy at least knows how to run a town. Because he's going to have to run a business. So it's like, we got to restock. We got to make sure that things are working. You know, like that's just how I sort of see it. Like, you're putting a businessman in charge. Like, well, I've got to make sure that this things work then.
And he knew how to make it work. He knew who to send out to gather the firewood, and the fishermen kept going down to the river to fish, and you know, so the town's still there and it's still running. So there you go.
He knew what he was doing, and that's what we wanted.
Yeah, and it's been about 6 months since they left there. They're about halfway through the year, so they're about to the part of the year when the sun never sets.
Right.
So, yeah. but so pretty neat. I mean, honestly, it's yeah, it's been really good. Like I got another game called Arkham Horror Role Playing
Yep.
as a gift, and like as soon as I started talking about the players in the group were like, "We're not playing that though."
They're like, no,
Like,
we're playing out the
no. I
Hyperborea.
was like, I didn't say we were. I was just saying I got it as a gift. They're like, okay, because we're still playing this one, right? And I'm like, yes. And I'm starting to think that Hyperborea may be the last game I ever play
It's going to be the last one I play.
because the players love it so much. I just, Now Shadow and I argue about it all the time, but
That's
Well,
okay.
Shadow don't like Conan the Barbarian movie also, so.
Yeah, or any book that wasn't directly written by Ari Howard. And I'm a lot more open-minded about that shit. I'm like, whatever. But I guess because I used to collect all the Savage Sword of Conan comic books, I'm like, yeah,
Yes.
they like everyone, the ladies at my table, the X5E players at the table, the guys that started at third edition, the guys that started at first edition, they are all like all about Hyperborea. No one even complained when I said no elves, dwarves, or none of that goofy shit. You just roll random. You could end up just a common human, which means you've been on Hyperborea for so long that there's been so much ethnic inbreeding, you don't even know what you are. You're like me, a mutt. You're a mutt. You're part this and part that and part this. Or you could be a pure something. And so that's how we ended up with an Amazon.
Right.
A Celt.
Now, why is it called AS and SH?
Because it's
amazing.
It's actually Amazing Sorcerers and Swords of Hyperborea or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh.
But see, in first and second edition, they really leaned on swords and sorcery and weird science fiction and all that, right?
Yeah.
The astonishing, but look at the new books, that astonishing sword and sorcery stuff is on the back cover.
Yeah, on my book, on my player's handbook right here, it's like
Well, you have the same one
sorcery,
as mine.
and weird science fantasy.
And on the front, it just says Hyperborea. So that's why Steven, who apparently has been in the Hyperborea longer than I have, he keeps calling it by the original name.
Yeah.
Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea. And I just got Hyperborea because I didn't get into the game until the third edition. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being a common man. I mean, granted, when I made a character for the game I'm in, I made a Roman and made sure to check that it was okay that I had SPQR branded onto my forearm or my bicep. So, I'm playing a Roman legionnaire from like the time of the Triumvirate, but I'm in Hyperborea, which has been pretty good. I mean, and the thing I like about Hyperborea, not that I'm going to keep going on too much about it right this second, is that you can do anything you want.
It's just
I think
fun.
I've told you that before, Saxius. You can literally do anything. My wife, who is Danish, is playing a Dane.
I do like that because they've made the cultures to be like.
Yeah, there's no races. There's just culture.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right. Well, yeah, there's kind of races in a way. I mean, Atlanteans and Hyperboreans can't reproduce with any other humans but their own, but they're still humans, though.
Yeah.
But yeah. So instead of worrying about elves, you're more worried about whether you're playing an Eskimo, a Yakut, a Tingit, a Laplander, Finns or Danes. And also, depending on who you pick, you own the box set. Oh my God. I was looking online. That box set's like $300. But because it started out very small and no one knew about it. And then by the time it got big, it was towards the end of the second edition run.
Yeah.
So of course everybody's like, well, I'd like to get that old stuff. And it's like, yeah, good luck. But and then there's a lot of weird shit on the world anyway, like, Men of Ling and the Choo Choo people that live on the plateau of Ling. And of course, these guys I've been working on, the Scorpion men that live on the plateau of Zen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're playing some kind of human, but the world is full of nightmares, basically. Nightmares.
Well, yeah. Should be a dangerous place.
Yeah, it is. But I have been. I did read the Arkham Horror game. I like it, but I don't know if we'll ever play it. But I like it from what I've seen of it. It's pretty cool, It's like Call of Cthulhu, but the character. It's almost like Pulp Cthulhu. The characters have a much greater chance of actually surviving a mission.
Yeah.
And actually, gaining skills and stuff. The chance of that happening is way better.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's still a modern game. So your character basically has 6 health points and a 1911 pistol does 2 damage base. And then every success after the one you need is another point of damage. So in theory, somebody could gun you down in one round.
As it should be.
And vice versa. And the adventures that came with it are mostly you're fighting cultists.
Yep. Makes sense.
Which, as it should be. I mean, the idea that you're going to run into Cthulhu around the corner is probably kind of silly, but trying to break up cultists, trying to do shit, that's kind of what you do. That
makes sense. Like, it's easier to sort of like buy into that because the whole you meet Cthulhu, like the entire point is like you see Cthulhu, like your mind immediately takes certain amount of insanity, and his attacks are like he rolls a d6. That's how many people just dies. No questions asked, no attack roll. It's just here's how many of you die.
Right.
I was getting ready to say the same thing. Sex is like, yeah, Call of Cthulhu. You hope you never see Cthulhu because you do, you die.
Exactly. Like I'm gearing up for my game for the players to start getting exposed to more and more things. Like the monster, the end monster that they're going to be seeing is a Chthonian or Chthonian.
Oh yeah,
Dune-like creatures or snake, worm-like things that wakes up and like rips you in half. That's what I'm building up to. That's going to be the great horror. And it's not even like the worst thing that they can find, but that thing will kill someone just if it gets its tentacle, if it reaches anyone.
Well, they're also somewhat or not. They can communicate through thought, and they can cause earthquakes.
Yeah, they can do telepathy, earthquakes. They can do a little bit of magic.
Yeah.
That's the thing about Call of Cthulhu. You hope you never run into anything except for cultists. Because any of the monsters, even the most lesser monster in Call of Cthulhu, is going to just kill a normal human.
A lot of them will. Like, if you get on a mission where you got to go into Innsmouth and figure out what's up with deep ones, I mean, a Tommy gun will kill a deep one. Don't worry about
it. Will kill a human.
Because deep ones are really no tougher than a human. It's just terrifying when your players realize that they exist. But, like, I like the game because the whole idea of the game is, as far as the missions that come in the game, it's your group of players have been either contacted by somebody or accidentally wandered onto something that involves a cult doing some horrible shit.
Yeah.
And would you please, make them not?
Yeah, so my current plan for my Call of Cthulhu game is that they're on their way towards India to go to Bhutan. One of the stops that they're going to be doing is in Yemen, one of the British port of Port Aden or Aden. And my plan is there's a player who kind of left the game, uh, to be with his wife and kids and all that. An acceptable reason for leaving a game.
Right.
And I've asked him to come back for a one shot, and he's going to be playing a person that's going to die. Well, I want the Port Aden to be attacked by nomadic, Yemens, and amongst them, I'm going to have snake people who's going to be casting spells to sort of really expose the players to the fact that, like, oh, there are terrible things that live among us, and we don't see them until like they really pop out, and then they're going to have a hard time not facing them out because they now know it's out there. It's going to be a persistent thing, and it's going to like put the game on on a higher drive because they now know that things exist in the shadows. They will see things that aren't there. They will start thinking that they've seen things which are there, and so the grip on reality is meant to be loosening after the next session.
That's awesome.
When they realize that serpent folk have actually integrated into some human cultures and control them because they can make themselves look human.
Exactly, and that's good. That's the whole thing that I think is going to be quite scary because there's going to be a whole bunch of like Yemen, nomads attacking them. I'm going to do the whole thing of like they bring back the old like scimitars and spears and trying to fight them, and then they will see the people that get up close and they will have snake features, and they'll be like, "What are we dealing with? This is not what we meant to this is what we expected." And one of them's going to cast a spell, and I'm hoping that I can either kill one player character or I will kill the person that will be there for the one shot, because I want that player has agreed that they are joining for one game, but they put the condition that they want to die brutally.
Hey,
I'm happy to oblige.
This is where the whole movie idea, not necessarily the book idea, but the movie idea of Thulsa Doom comes from.
Oh, I'm trying to think. Thulsa Doom, is that from the Dune books?
No, that's from Conan the Barbarian. Remember the what's his
James
name?
Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones character.
Right.
He turned into a serpent and everything like that.
Yeah,
he's doing all that serpent magic. Because which he could have just been a hardcore priest of Set too.
Yeah, but serpent men exist. Look at the government.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
Well, that's what that Ike said, right? That
David Icke.
Yeah, that it was all serpent people.
Snake people.
Like, okay. I mean, I don't know, but that's definitely like Clark Ashton Smith, Lovecraft, Howard, all the guys that wrote in the mythos had serpent people.
Yeah. And
they are always like the race that was here before us. They're great scientists and sorcerers, and they hate us.
Yeah.
Really, really bad. And most of them worship Yig, but Yig is sometimes called Set in some parts of the world. So, So the ancient Stygians worshiping the snake god, that's Yig.
Yep. So, all right, well, I'm out.
All right. You take care.
You guys be good. Have a great day.
And you. Take care.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
So it sounds exciting, though. And if you are playing in the 1920s era, the idea of just a bunch of like evil Bedouins running up on somebody with scimitars and shit, I mean, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so that's my plan. Like, because I know, like you said, it's the 1920s, specifically 1920. The players have been traveling from London down past Lisbon, Portugal, through Gibraltar, through the Mediterranean. And like it's just like it started out just being like natural events, weird occurrences, but like it's been consistently just getting weirder and weirder, and like it's gotten to the point of where the players aren't even sure like what is happening anymore. Um, which is great. It's even gotten to the point of where the players were they were almost accusing each other of one person being a cultist or one person causing the bad events from happening, which just fed into some great role playing. But yeah, they've just finished their stay in Port Said in Egypt. They're passing through the Suez Canal. And they're going to have a quick pit stop in Port Aden before they then go across and arrive in the port of Bombay. And then they're going to be traveling up through. The player that they're going to meet is going to be like a British intelligence officer who's going to debrief them about what it's like in India. Because Gandhi's, in the middle of doing some peaceful protests.
Yeah, I was trying to remember, when did the Raj end? Was that in the 20s or 40s? I don't know.
I can't remember myself.
I know India fought as part of the Commonwealth in World War II.
So it finished in 1947. So it is still going in this game at the very least.
Right. Well, yeah, they were constantly having various uprisings until Gandhi was like, hey, violence ain't going to work here, guys.
Exactly.
I mean, they learned that with the Sepoy uprising.
Mm.
When they thought it'd be a good idea to run around and murder as many British people as they could. Didn't work out because the British showed up and were not merciful.
No.
No,
but the British have also learned through the history that if you conquer somewhere like that, you have to put people who are willing to do some heavy hand to keep them in line. You can get the locals to run things, put them in charge, just do the general governance and make sure that everything's running smoothly. But if there's an uprising, it's like, no, we can't have that. Because there's been multiple times where they've put someone in charge that didn't want to do violence, and then that just didn't work out.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why they were constantly putting down revolutions and shit all over the place.
No, absolutely. Well, that's that. And like I said, my 40k game, they're going to go out and they're going to do because the new captain's in charge, and they're going to go and like return to civilization, and they want to like reinforce they've got like 3 planets that they're colonizing. So they want to go and focus on that, and like they have some really big plans that they want to take over, like the heart of the what's it called, of the sector. Because the very centipede of the sector for a long time was just a big like warp swampland, like you couldn't get anywhere. And now that's been cleared out. No one understands why or how. But they want to now conquer that, because if they control the heartlands, they will control everything that you can do logistically.
How you doing, Mobius?
Hello, Mobius. So yeah, so that's the plan for that. And a number of the players have also said that they want to have a second character that they can play as. And they've got the reason is the player who plays the navigator, he really wants to be involved in some of the stories that are happening.
But, no, that makes perfect sense,
Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't want the navigator to go down into a firefight and accidentally get shot by stray bullets. That's a horror.
I think in the Modifius 2.20 Star Wars, you're actually supposed to create like a deck officer and then a way team guy.
Yeah. That makes sense. I know that's I think they also do that in Star Trek or one of those. just to make it
Right.
easier. So everyone makes like their main character, and then everyone makes a red shirt to make sure they're like, oh, I can't justify my character going. So there's a red shirt there because security is important.
Right.
So that's actually the idea that we've taken for this, is that everyone who wants to have a secondary character will then sit down and either make, an operative, an arch militant, or like something else that will then be like a couple of grades below where they are, but they're there to be like the actual competent muscle. And the guy who is the navigator, he's got the same sort of like quirk as myself, but he's definitely sat down and gone like, all right, I'm gonna make a very good killing machine, which has just been funny to read through.
Cool. He's like, I am going to wreck ass.
Yeah. Exactly. So like it's the same one he made. He's navigator. Like his navigator is insanely good at being a navigator. To the point of where like with twice now, 2 or 3 times in this game, they have actually gone back in time because he flies the ship so well in the warp that they end up showing up at the other side, and they've gone back in time. So they've gone, whoop, shit, put the timer on. We got to be out of here by X amount of time. Otherwise, we meet ourselves, and we don't want that.
That's funny.
It is. That is going to be coming back and biting them in the ass, because I am going to have the Auto Chronos show up, because they're like, yeah, you don't understand that you're actually causing ripple effects elsewhere. So we're gonna need to do some researches here of you flying.
Well, we're gonna need you guys to stop messing with the timeline.
Yeah,
you don't mind? That'd be nice, right?
And yeah, I'm using the butterfly or the chaos theory effects.
Yeah,
they do one thing, but because they've done that thing, it has further reaching effects.
Oh yeah.
So that's.
I like that.
I like Steven's comedy there. I like the smile on Saxius' face when he says brutal. When he said brutal, yeah, correct. So I got to say some brutal shit, and yeah.
Well, I mean,
I enjoyed when players like come in with like some of these concepts where it's like, yeah, no, we're here to fuck shit up. It's like I like it when the players come in with that kind of energy because they're focused. They get things done.
Right.
But
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. We went through a little bit of a phase where I think early on when we were playing this game, I told them how deadly it was.
Yep.
I might have leaned too far into it, and it made them all really super skittish. No one wanted to do anything. And they're starting to get around that and starting to realize, well, mainly because the cleric in the group was like, you guys are a bunch of, and he's like, if you don't want adventure, then go back and get your freaking rake and garden, or something.
Yeah.
So.
No, definitely. Like, Eve, it's going to be the whole thing of like, you want an adventure? This is what it is. It's messy. It's dirty. It is dangerous. You are risking everything and everyone. If you're not willing to take that risk, I mean, why are you here? Just go and be a farmer. Go and be a blacksmith. Go and be the local tavern wench. What do I care for? But this is what you chose. If you want to make that that high value, you got to be willing to go and take some risk.
Right. That is 100% correct. Yeah. If you wanting to be the boss, you got to do shit. No one's going to hand it to you.
That is exactly correct.
And so I have been running the Forgotten Realms adventure Ruins of Adventure, which is based off of the old computer game Pull of Radiance.
Right.
I just set it near Brigand's Bay and changed all the monsters up, and that's what I've been running. So they've been, going through and trying to clear each little precinct of the city. And of course, the monsters, as they go through and clear a precinct, the monsters come back and try to mess with it. And, so the last time they cleared out Kudo as well, and which is a precinct there. And so the town elders sent guards to Kudo as well to try to, hold it.
Yeah.
Except now the guards are missing because something has killed them. And the players are going to have to figure that one out. But it'll be a week because they went into the library and one of them got hit by a specter, and it took reduced his con by 8 points. Yeah.
Ow.
He went from 14 to 6. And he's a fighter. And he was just like, ow.
Yeah.
And the only way you can get con back in the game is for every full day of rest, one con will come back. And I have poured over the book. I may have missed it, but I have found no magic that regenerates con. No restoration, nothing like that.
Yeah, that's like how level drain was in like the older games as well. Even
Right.
then, like there was like, oh, you have to get like a restoration or something like that, but like they were super difficult, so you might as well just ignore them.
Right.
But yeah, like in a game like that, I mean, in a game like Conan or Hyperborea, that's kind of what you want. Well, it's like I've just lost cons. Like, yeah. Well, I need to have a long, hard think about whether this character is going to be suitable for taking this hard life, because that's a big chunk. You're
Yep.
badly ill at that stage.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's how they decide. That's how they have decided to represent something literally sucking the life out of you.
Yeah.
Is you lose your con. And if it goes to 2, then you can't really do anything but talk. And if your con hits 1, you can just lay on the floor. And if it hits 0, you're dead. And you come back as an undead creature in like a week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, everything about it is like, oh my God. This is not good stuff. But I mean, it is a specter, though. So that's a powerful monster.
Spectres are meant to be terrifying.
Yeah.
I remember I was watching someone who was doing like a Let's Play AD&D Second Edition, and the player found the site of it. I think it was not a spectre, but it was a white. No, it was a spectre, and he let it out. Now it began killing a whole bunch of people, and he ran away. The player,
Yeah.
there was just one player, one DM. He came back, and then he later learned, like, oh yeah, the spectre's been killing all of these people. They were all NPCs, so they're now all these like a quarter of a D8 specters that are running around murdering more people, bringing them to the lowest hit die possible. Which made it funny because there was a whole bunch of like very easy to farm specters. The scary thing was every night they would try and kill something. So there was just like this growing population of like undead rising in the region, and the guy was like, I really need to figure out how to deal with this, because soon I'm not gonna have a home.
Right. Like everything is being killed.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they got into the fight with it. They the cryomancer was not pleased since specters are immune to cold. So he was pretty much jacked right off the bat. And so he was talking about having to go in and fight this thing with his humble, like, silver +1 dagger. And but it ran up on the warlock, which is, the fighter mage, and it smacked his ass, and he went down to where his maximum hit points was like 12 from where they had been at, like, 40 or some shit. But because of the massive con drop, not only did he take the damage, but then he had to reduce his hit points by the penalty. He got at 6, and
Nice.
so every level, and oh man, he was worried, man. But the group operated really well as a team. They pretty much got him as far away from the Spectre as possible, and tried to stop it from getting to him again. Not that they could, since it could just move through everything as ethereal,
Yeah.
But they were doing their best to keep their buddy alive, and eventually they did manage to kill it. Their main complaint lately with their party is that they have a witch in the party.
Yeah.
And one of her best spells is called, like, the Black Skull or something like that, right?
Okay.
Basically, she summons a skull and she throws it, and it operates mechanically. It's a fireball.
Right.
Wherever it hits, it explodes up to a certain radius for die 6 times her level. She has effed up and dropped that thing on her own group twice. Like, by making the roll to throw it and rolling like a nat 1. And then I used Tasagawa's Woe, which is a fumble table. And it'll be like the spell detonates on the caster or something like that. Mm-hmm. And one time she did it, her husband, who is another player in the group, the Cryomancer, went to -7 hit points instantly. He was like, blam, just out. And in the game, you can go to -10 before you're dead, but still, everybody was hurting. They're like, oh my God. So now every time she's like, I'm going to cast my skull spell, people are like, dive for cover. Like, get away from her. She's going to kill us all. It's pretty funny.
That sounds good.
Yeah. But, yep. And then last game, the Cryomancer cast his Ice Shard spell, rolled a nat 1, and hit the cleric. He's like, I might kill you now. And the cleric's like, well, roll the damage. And he did. And it wasn't enough to kill the cleric, but didn't make him happy either.
No, I have to say, though, like, some of the fumbles are hilarious. I had one of my 2nd edition games, when I was using fumbles, I had the ranger shoot his own foot with a critical damage.
Oh, yeah.
I was just like, we sat there, was like, how? And we were like, how has this happened? How are you a ranger? Are you just, I don't know, goofy in disguise? I don't know.
I had a long time ago, and I mean when I was a teenager, I was running Middle-earth role-playing.
Oh, yeah.
And my best friends, before he passed away, he was playing his character, and he pinned his foot to the ground with a crossbow.
Oh.
Which got him killed, because then he couldn't move when the troll dropped a rock on him. Because they were in Moria fighting. And it was just like, damn. But that's how Middle-earth role-playing is, though.
Yeah.
The crits are no joke. So it's basically kind of what you're saying, except, he died. But I've also done funny stuff, like just to add a little levity to the game. Like have a player crit fell really, really bad. And then it be so bad that maybe some of the monsters miss their attack because they're so busy laughing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which kind of keeps the players from getting killed, but on the other hand, it's also kind of humiliating because the people they're fighting are just pointing and laughing like, you're an idiot. You know
Goody.
what I mean? How you doing, Dean?
I'm doing all right. Just been a long day of work.
Yeah.
And yesterday, what do you call it? We had to clean everything because like a regional manager came by.
Yeah.
Christ.
But yeah, other than that, I'm doing fine.
Do you work in retail?
No, I work in on a McDonald's.
I worked at a convenience store, so I don't know if it's exactly the same, but I kind of feel your pain,
It's
having
less
to.
inventory, but still probably the same amount of cleaning. Probably worse, now that I think about it, because people are eating there. So
Yeah, yours is probably a little bit whatever. All I remember, because it's been so long, is my favorite thing to do, because I work third shift, is I worked with this old dude and he hated to do the coolers. And I loved to do the coolers. Because, you go into the walk-in coolers and it's like just barely above freezing.
yeah.
Because, they keep it like 3 degrees above freezing. Have a great one, Mobius. And I would just go in there without a jacket and just stand there. Be like, And then you got to put all the sodas on the racks and shit, but whatever.
Yeah, I totally know that
for
feeling.
years.
And like, we had the same here. Like, we have like a cooling room, and then behind it a freezer. And the cooling room it's always nice for me, except for like in the winter. But like, yeah,
Right. Yep, I did that. I did that job for years and years when I was very young. Well, actually, not very young. I was in my 20s, but still, Anyway, it's good to see you, Dean. And Saxius and I were just regaling each other with tales of role playing stuff.
Oh yeah, that's partly why I jumped in. Then I forgot.
Why, did you have a player fumble and shoot their foot to something?
I had my own, so I was playing a very quote unquote prepared character, and he had like like acid, Greek fire, and everything like in his pack.
Yeah. Yep.
Another player was falling down from a high place, and I went to catch him.
Oh no.
My characters were like average strength, so like 10 to 12, something like that. So there was a possibility I wouldn't fail. The problem is just I was bad at math. Okay, I wasn't, but like basically there was like a 20% chance I would have succeeded. That went the DM interpret those things mixing, including whatever he was carrying, as a big explosion. And then apparently, because I had just joined the campaign, and I didn't know the other characters, one of them was carrying like an artifact that like, it can soak up damage, but if it takes a certain point, it also explodes. So I took out the whole party on the first session because I was trying to save one of the party members.
Yeah, we have a saying here in the U.S. I don't know if you guys have it over there in either of your countries, but that saying is no good deed goes unpunished.
Yeah,
We have that one too.
So,
yeah, that's an English thing.
and you basically proved that, Yeah, trying to do the good thing, and boom.
Yeah, I don't think any of them weren't actually, what do you call it, mad or anything. It was just, okay, new characters.
Yeah, you can't even be mad about that, really.
No,
can
like,
you? I
it's
mean,
like-
you had the
Yeah.
best of intentions. It was just sometimes dice.
Yeah,
go-
like it just did not work out, and it's like, oh, okay, you've got all these things,
Yeah.
okay, and then this happened, but wait, he's got that. Oh god, and he's got that. It's like, okay, well, from the point of view of the if there was a big bad evil guy, they must be so confused of like, right, these guys have been causing all these problems. They've been taking out my lieutenants. 3 of my captains are now dead, and now there's reports of a gigantic explosion not too far away from our other armory, and they've now disappeared. No, they wouldn't. They couldn't.
Right.
They have. What?
They've blown themselves up.
How? It's like,
What is dead may never die. Okay.
oh no. I need to tell a funny one.
Go ahead.
I don't. Are people familiar here with what a crypt thing is from D&D?
What is what?
Crypt thing.
I think it was from like the Fiend Folio.
Yeah, it's from Money. Yeah, I'll type it out in the chat here. That's what.
Thank you.
It is.
The crypt thing.
Yeah.
I have seen it. I don't remember what it is.
Okay, so when you are like, let's say like a lich, you have a layer, or you're a death knight or something like that. So you've got your base. You don't want to deal with looking after that base. That's like administrative thing. So you have a crypt thing. That thing has OCD. Whenever I run them, they're like, yes, my lord, we shall clean this up. I shall go and reset the traps. Oh, we need more skeletons. Of course, I shall go and get them. And they'll go out and they'll do all of these like day-to-day things. So it looks after it. And they don't do offensive combat. So if they meet another hero in the lair, they're like, oh, no, you don't belong here. And they cast teleport on the person. And they just teleport them away somewhere else in the castle, further below, outside. Absolutely random.
I like this monster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like them as well. They are a lot of fun. Then you have one of my players who, the moment he understood what he was facing, he went, I don't want to kill it. I want to torture it. I was like, what do you mean? I'm going to get out a knife, Oscar, and I'm going to start cutting into all of the paintings, just slightly on the side. I am going to take chalk and like write things and do graffiti. And with a chisel and hammer, I will break and do small dents in the stonework and in the statues. And I sat there and I just went, the creature has OCD, which means it will not accept imperfections. So it has to now go and fix everything. It's going to be so busy fixing all of the small problems you have made, it cannot reset all the traps. And that means that you can keep on going backwards and in, and you can tell where it is because it's fixing everything. So this crypt thing got really angry at the players because they would camp right outside its master's dungeon, and then they would just come in and do havoc and steal things and leave a mess that it had to clean up. So it had some skeletons come out with a big basin to like project out the crypt thing, so he could basically shout at them because he was angry. The player was like, "Ooh, the basin, does it have water in it?" It's like, no, it's like a hologram. I'm like, okay. I take the basin and I spin it around, making the crypt thing dizzy and falling over.
That's evil.
It is such evil things. He was just
By
like,
the way, did you change the alignment or were they already evil?
No, so they were like, I want to be chaotic and neutral. I just want to cause mayhem. I just want to be a problem because I'm only doing it, but I'm not hurting him. I'm just being the worst thing that they've ever met.
I'm telling you, I have a saying, and that is, if someone shows up at your table playing a chaotic neutral gnome, you already know it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
You're not going to be short on problems.
Yeah.
So
but what is dead can never die. That's
yeah. So that's what made me prompt, because at that point after the player like spun that thing around, made him like turn around, he shouted, I just want to die. I have a gag reflex. I want to throw up, but I can't.
Yeah. That's what the Ironborn used to say in Game of Thrones.
Yes.
when they would drown the person and then bring them back and resuscitate
Yeah. Oh, he's gone.
them. Little known.
He might.
That's why the Ironborn
No, he's
symbol is.
Oh, no. She's staring at us.
He's looking very determined at you.
Yeah. He's like, you know what I mean, Oscar.
Yeah.
It's coming through bits and pieces, James.
Come on.
There we are. Okay.
There we
There
are.
we are.
So the last
yeah.
thing you heard was something about the Ironborn resuscitating people.
Sorry about that. Yeah. That live in the sea. And yeah, the drowned god is pretty much Cthulhu. So
That was the impression I got when I saw the symbol of like the big kraken that they worship. It's very very much based around like worshipping water, the deep ones.
yeah. And here I have Victorian Greyjoy,
Nice.
the captain of the Victory. Yeah. You know that game that came out a long time ago, Song of Ice and Fire miniature game? I've got like 3 armies for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've got my Ironborn, I've got my Lannisters, and I've got Starks. So basically, Starks and Lannisters are the main forces, really. But I always I hated the one Ironborn, but Victorian was actually not such a horrible guy. Anyway, so this is what I'm making for my brother. I know you can't see great, but you see how he's got that big peaked helmet? Yeah. That's very Hyperborean. And then he's got a footman's flail because his character carries a footman's flail. So this started out as a Goliath miniature from WizKids. And then I have put a dark elf head on him because I needed that big pointy head because the Hyperborean helmets are really pointy. And the footman's mace is from Warhammer, the Flagellants.
Yep.
So now I just need to paint him up. He used to carry a hammer, so I had another figure for him, but he got a two-handed flail and he can use it, so he's all about that. It's a powerful weapon. It's a polearm.
Yep.
Yeah, the footman's flail is a damn polearm. It's actually got reach. And in Hyperborea, it ignores your opponent's shields. So any armor class they receive from their shield, you ignore that shit. So
is that to indicate like people using a polearm to pull the shield back or
chain
shield away? Yeah.
Yeah, because it's on that big chain. So when he swings that thing, if the chain hits the top of your shield, it's just going to come right down onto your head. So, yeah, you can have a guy. How often do I get to play what, PB? Hyperborea every week for about 4 hours.
I thought they were referring to the, what's it called? The miniature game with the Lannisters and the...
Oh, the Song of Ice and Fire war game? I haven't been able to play that since my brother moved. A lot of the war games I used to play, I played with Haas. Or I have a really close friend, Brian. Brian moved to freaking Eastern Tennessee, and Haas moved to Central Tennessee.
Right.
So the guys I normally would war game with, I don't get to anymore. Sometimes for fun, I'll lay my armies out because I've got them painted, and I'll use the Song of Ice and Fire Army Builder, and I'll like try to figure out what the best. But it never matters. When I have my choice, I always take Victarion and, the crew of the Victory. And then I take, some of the other Ironborn. I kind of avoid Rhaegar or whatever, the one-eyed, the guy that they tried to make big in the movie that was always trying to marry Daenerys or whatever.
Yeah.
Whoever. Yeah, I hate
Cersei.
that guy. In the books, I actually hate him.
Right.
So, I was like, I'm not playing that scumbag. But his ship was called the Silence, and his crew were called the Silent Men because he cut all their tongues out. And they all wore black hooded cloaks and carried big frickin' two-handed axes. And were heavily armored,
Right.
I don't think I like his
he literally was a dick. His whole deal was he was hoping if he did a bunch of shit, he could become a god. That would, like, they never touched on it in the movies. But yeah, part of that whole the drowned men religion and shit, he was literally trying to become a god. And he was just a horrible human being. Like, he slept with Victarion's wife and then bragged to him about it. And Victarion got so angry, basically grabbed her by the neck and accidentally killed her. Because Victarion's a big, and he just grabbed her and it killed her,
Yeah.
And then he sent Victarion to the east. And you're on Crow's Eye. That guy's bleh. And then he sent Victarion to the east to get Daenerys. And Victarion was planning to betray him and marry Daenerys himself.
Right.
But they never mention any of that. And his hand was cursed, poisoned. But then he found one of those fire priests.
Yep.
And the fire priest burned his hand. So Victarion's hand was always charred and burned, but it cured the poison. So he could use his hand and he wasn't dying of that poison. See, there was so much they could have done.
Yeah.
That they just didn't do because they were too busy wanting to show you floppy wieners and whatever the hell they were doing, right? Yeah, exactly, Paul. But yeah, the books, I mean, I liked the first book a whole lot. And the first episode of the series is great when the guys from the Black Watch go out and they find all those wildlings dead laying in a circle.
Yeah.
And it's all creepy. And then they look over and the one wildling's eyes are open and they're blue. They're that weird blue. And it's like, oh shit,
And James, I will have to head out since it's almost bedtime.
Yeah, well, it is about time for me to get going too. So
you two have a great one.
You too.
Good meeting you, Dean.
Yep.
Okay. Take care.
Good to see you, Dean. Hang out with my Danish bros. And everyone who dropped in, I appreciate you dropping. Yeah, the Red Priest knew. So he threw himself into the sea and Victarion found him. Because the Red Priest somehow knew it was. I mean, like I said, if you've only seen the series and you never read at least the first couple books, you're missing out. The books were actually way better.
I do hear that the books were very good.
Yeah, they were a lot better. It's just that R.R. Martin has never really been able to finish anything.
No.
So everybody waiting for him to finish Game of Thrones, he's painted himself in a corner already. Like, he has no idea what he's going to do at this point.
I heard rumors that the ending that we got of like the Game of Thrones series was the ending that he wanted to have. And because of the backlash of that ending, I don't know if he's now trying to like backpedal or something. But again, that's assuming that rumor was true.
Right.
And it could just be that the case of like he's got no idea. He doesn't know how to end it because he'll just keep on going and going and going.
Well, one of the big rumors that they kind of dance around, but they never actually pay off. Jon Snow was a Targaryen.
Right.
He was Rhaegar Targaryen and Alessa or whatever Stark's child.
Yeah.
And Ned had been lying the whole time. Ned was his uncle.
Yeah.
But if Ned knew, if Robert knew there was a Targaryen heir alive, Robert would have him killed.
Yeah.
Because Robert Baratheon was not the good guy people might want to think he was. He was an asshole.
No, I don't disbelieve that. Like, because like he was known for being like the hero who stood up to the Targaryens, but he absolutely was like he was willing to kill Daenerys was what, like 14, 15?
Oh, when they raided the Red Keep, yeah, they killed Oberon's sister. They killed her children.
Yeah.
That was the Mountain. The Mountain was a complete monster, though.
Yeah,
so
but like,
think about as bad as the Mountain was, and he served the Baratheons and the Lannisters direct.
Yeah.
So I mean, that would be like you trying to be a lawful good character, but having a completely evil character, which is why Sandor Clegane hated his guts.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if they did it in the movie or in the shows, but in the books, Sandor would never become a knight. They offered him a knighthood multiple times, and he turned it down every time.
Yes,
because he wouldn't be a knight knowing that his brother had been a knight.
Yeah, so it is mentioned several times where people are looking at him and goes like, "Hey, sir," and he's like, "I'm not a knight." And
right.
He says it. It's multiple times where he says it. Like, it's not really highlighted upon, but the animosity between the brothers is like, it's definitely.
Well, I mean, his brother probably killed their sister, possibly killed their dad, and held his face to a fire and burned half of it off.
Yeah, exactly. And thank you, Paul. I haven't read the book, so I'm just basing it off like secondhand.
Well, there's a lot of possibly maybe he did. But I mean, Gregor was horrible. Like him and his band, they would ride around and just, if they rode into a village or a tavern, they would just do all the worst shit that you can imagine. Like the most cruel, evil shit you could do. That's what they did.
Because he was dubbed the Mountain because he was massive.
Yeah, I have his miniature.
Yeah.
He is, I think, one of the only miniatures in the game, other than a couple of direwolves, that does not base with a unit. He is a solo unit. And his figure is got to be 3 inches tall. Like when he's on the field, he towers over everyone.
Yeah, because that's the entire thing. Which again, I really do like the fact that they got Thor, the Icelandic strongman, to be him. Like, because I know they switched the actors around a couple of times depending on what they needed, but like when they needed him to like really shine, they got him out.
They got that big dude. Yeah. You know what's funny too is, have you ever seen that guy's wife?
Yes, I have.
She's so tiny. It's like I see that and I'm just like, oh my God.
Yes.
I don't even want to think about how that
works. You don't. Yeah, but I did see some interviews where they were having like the Viper versus the Mountain, and they're like, "Oh, we've made this like really big sword, and it's super heavy. We need like 3 people to carry it." They give it to Thor. He's like, "Oh yeah, it's all right," and he just wings it around with like one arm. And they're like, "Oh yeah, right. He's like the 3rd strongest man in the world. We keep on forgetting it."
Yeah, they Iceland is a strange place.
Yes, it is.
There is a guy on YouTube who does shorts, and he's from Iceland. And like he's so serious, like he never smiles or anything. And he's like, in Iceland, you can leave your children at the playground overnight. They won't be there when you come back, but you can do that. And it's just like, what is this guy doing? Or he's like, in Iceland, you don't have to lock up your bike. It will get stolen, but you don't have. And it's like, what is this guy doing? And he's just saying all this weird shit. This is a traditional Icelandic dinner, the name of which translates to a good reason to leave your wife. It's like, what? But I think they were making slaughter.
Yeah.
Which is basically lamb fat and blood mixed with barley. It's like, yeah. I think they're the idiots that eat that fermented shark too.
Yes, they are.
They're like, yeah. The only Icelandic food I've ever ate is their version of yogurt. I
Right.
think it's called like Skål or something like that.
I'm not gonna lie, like I am not overly caught up to like Iceland and their cuisine. It's a like you said, it's a unique place. It's like how most of the rest of Scandinavia treats Finland. It's like it's just there. Just leave them in their corner.
Well, I mean, the
Uh,
Finns, bless their little hearts, aren't Scandinavian.
no, they aren't. And that's the fun thing to like, because I've had this. Um, sorry, I was just reading the comments. Yeah, because I remember what's it called in my school. The American teacher was insisting, like, no, on the exam you have to put Finland is a part of Scandinavia, and the exam she would have all of the Scandinavians in uproar, going, they aren't fucking Scandinavians. It's like, I'm not a part of this. I'm not going to engage with this. So there's a bunch of exams that was turned in where it's like, which country is not a part of Scandinavia? And there was like Germany being the answer, and so many of us. Yeah, Finland was one of the options, and we were just like, the Norwegians, the Swedes, me, like we all wrote like, you're wrong. Everything everything you're saying here is wrong.
Yeah, it's like they're not even ethnically anywhere near the same people. They are originally ethnically related to Turks or Urgiks or whatever, and now most of them are half Russian. So it's like, because Finland was the Archduchy of Russia for like,
like it was, the land was traded between Sweden and Russia over and over, like so many times, and like sometimes with breaks of like 100 to 200 years, like difference. Like you would go through several generations. So I was like, okay, it's no longer Swedish. Oh, it's Swedes now try to take over. Oh, this is now not happening.
Well, their language isn't even.
No, Sumi is
in the neighborhood.
No, it's closer to Hungarian, if I remember correctly.
Right, because their people are like Huns or
exactly. Like they originate from the steppes, which again, it's insane when you go through it. I mean, all the Hungarians I've talked about, they're like, oh yeah, no, we are horse people, we are Huns, this is what we are proper raiders. And I was like, yeah, that's good. And then you mentioned the Finns, and they're like, yeah, no, it's like our distant, weird cousins that apparently we lost on our way over here.
Yeah. They well, Satya drops in, he's Hungarian, and I know they speak their language is nothing like any other European language. And
no.
What's really interesting is have you ever read any of the mythology? Finnish mythology? Oh my God. Like, if anybody thinks Germanic or Norse mythology is generally pretty cool and laid back. Finnish mythology, there's no heaven.
No.
Like, when you die, you go to this place, and then like their god of death or whatever makes you drink a brew, and then you forget who you are and spend all eternity just doing whatever you did during life, like in this misty, dark world. And like, they have these three females, Loviators, one of the sisters, and they go out into the world and they gather up misery, and then they take it back to the underworld and they brew it to make it even stronger, and then they go back out to redistribute it. So literally everything in their mythology sucks. You know? It's like,
you could tell that they're close to Russia.
Yeah, it's just like, it all is. Hey, the Norse religion compared to the Finnish religion, or even the German version of the Norse religion, is laid back. Compare Odin to Wotan. Wotan is a murderous son of a bitch, like nonstop. And Loki is just pure evil and cruel for no good reason in the German myths. In the Norse myths, Loki's kind of like the trickster, ha ha ha, you know, and Odin's like the wise guy. But anyway, I'm going to take off, but before I do, I'm going to show you that.
Nice.
I need to put 3 hounds on him. because that is the Hound.
That is nice. Very
Yeah,
good.
that's the metal one. So he's actually he had two helmets. I put the closed face helmet on, but he had the other one where the Hound face was open and you could see his face.
I like the one where it's down.
But yeah, that's his whole deal. And he's tall as shit too, though. But he was. I mean, Sender Clegane, the guy they got playing, that Scottish guy, that dude's like almost 7 feet tall. Odin is the OG power gamer, sacrifices himself to himself. Yeah. But I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for dropping in, Sax.
Anytime.
Yeah.